it always falls back. Whatever I do in music, and especially in metal, it always comes back to the Beatles and Black Sabbath. Then, like for big or small things all around, musically can be anything between, I don't know, the Devin Townsend to stupid bubblegum pop I listened to as a kid, Aqua, and everything in between can be like, oh, that's a sweet idea, or that is fun, or I want to try something like this. But just generally how to approach songwriting and everything, that's Beatles. And as everybody on this festival I'm sure knows, when you do metal, it's really hard to get around certain things that started with Black Sabbath. All metal comes from there, and it's still relevant today, and still there are fresh ways to approach that, and that is what makes things metal, according to me. We just call it metal, because when we started out, like the band, the couple of bands that we all could agree on were really awesome, that we kind of wanted to sound like when we were teenagers, was like The Haunted and Cryptopsy and stuff. So we started our starting influences as a group back then was, technical extreme death metal and, melodic death metal and that feel of things. And I just don't feel what we have evolved into is not quite death metal, not at all, really. We are huge death metal fans, but we're not trying to sound like our heroes, And the same thing is that, as an umbrella term, to call it heavy metal sometimes makes sense to me, but I don't know. So we call it metal, and then people sometimes call it circus metal, and I think that sounds ridiculous, but so I don't know, metal. Yeah, I'll hopefully, like the if I can wish for one thing, is that we strive to write songs we haven't heard in a genre full of stuff that is really, really great and that we really, really love, and many others with us love. Like, we try to pay tribute to what metal is and the idea of what metal is, while still writing new songs. And if people can say something like, one, hey, I like this, two, this is fucking metal, and three, I haven't heard this song before. So those three things are what I hope for. Like, lyrically, usually it's the song becomes the inspiration, or like this, like everything you do in life affects it. And usually, if I look back to lyrics from 5 years ago, sometimes it becomes even more clear where it came from. Like, just in terms of, choice of words or something. That book, maybe even, that stupid car commercial, that, or that other band, or that happened in my life, or this happened in the world. That can be anything, really. You just try to keep your antennas out. But then what ends up being in a song is, we 99.9% of the time we start with the music, at least a riff. And my way of determining whether or not it's a good riff is to listen to is whether or not I get a vision from it. My best example that I come back to is always "Hail the Apocalypse." That when because Tim wrote that riff, that, and there's certain like images that comes first pretty simple, like it could be like some machine starting up, like a car engine or a rocket ship or just a big factory. But then I also started to think of a countdown and on alarms, and that leads to flight alarms, and that I started to hear incoming attack and then impending doom, and there somewhere, when the thought process led to that impending doom, I realized, that's the riff, that's the story here. It's a story about the apocalypse. So usually it's just the music tells me what it needs to be about.